Hello, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ezekiel, but you can call me Zeke. And in this series, I am going to be showing you some scripts that I have written for a Spider-Man saga. And I hope you enjoy it. This is my pitch for a Spider-Man Omniverse saga. The first film is called Spider-Man: Shadows of Sorrow. And it goes like this. Peter Parker, your stereotypical what you think of Peter Parker when you think of Peter Parker, high school kid, goes to Midtown High, he's not very liked by his classmates. Anyways, classic Peter stuff, I can skip over that, it goes without being said. But one major change from the comics, from this, all the source material that I've decided to make in this series is to kill off both Uncle Ben and Aunt May instead of just Uncle Ben. And that happens by the hand of Dr. Octopus. Olivia Octavius, the 10-year-old daughter of Otto Octavius, is visiting her father's lab one day in Octavius Industries. And she stumbles across this octopus mech, and she climbs inside of it. Her curiosity gets the best of her. It amazes her, and she ends up turning it on. The unfinished AI takes control of her mind, and she breaks out of the lab and goes on a rampage. This is how Uncle Ben and Aunt May are killed. And it just so happens that during her rampage, Dr. Octopus ends up killing Aunt May and Uncle Ben by trampling over them on the street. Peter watches in horror. Just recently, having gotten his powers at a school trip, he tries to attack the octopus mech, but due to his inexperience, it escapes. And he basically spends the majority of the second act, throwing together his costume. The suit he crafts will look like this, the original design of Spider-Man's suit in the Amazing Fantasy 15 comic book. And what I want to do is, for the remainder of the second act, have Peter search for Doc Ock everywhere, where he eventually finds her in the sewer, and they proceed to have a violent third act fight. And in this climax, they battle each other to the death. They slam each other against the walls and the ceiling of the sewer system that they are in, and it damages the entire thing. Cracks everywhere, debris falling. It's terrible. And by the end of the fight, Spider-Man punches a hole through the mech and pulls Olivia out. Realizing that she's just a kid, he fights his rage and an urge for vengeance and spares her life. Because, after all, she was just a poor child being controlled by AI. And so he spares her. But there's another dilemma. And that is the sewer system I mentioned a second ago. That was crumbling around them. It is now collapsing on them. Spider-Man and Olivia get covered in the debris, which Spider-Man holds up for what feels like hours, and what eventually turns into literal days. And Spider-Man is struggling, but he has to save Olivia. He can't dig up, otherwise the rubble will fall down and crush her. And he can't just let the rubble crush her, because he just can't. She's 10 years old. What is he supposed to do? He is her last hope, and so he just stays there, fighting his own weakness, and he doesn't break. He doesn't give up. He does not fail in terms of strength. But he does fail to save Olivia because she soon dies of hunger, not being able to escape. And after her tragic death, he digs himself up, now not having to worry about killing her if he digs up. After escaping, Spider-Man sets up a rooftop camp at some random building in New York and just dedicates his life to saving the people of Manhattan, of New York. And he gives up his life as Peter Parker and embraces his responsibility as Spider-Man. And that brings our first film to a close. Stick around for next week's video, which will be the pitch for the sequel to this film, Spider-Man: Vengeance or Valor. if you enjoyed this film, I hope you return for the next one. And I know it was a bit strange in terms of, how different it was from previous Spider-Man stories I'm sure you've heard in the past. But hear me out, stick with me here. I got a big story at the end of this. I got a huge thing being set up here, so bear with me. And God bless you and have a great day.